the Nashville people. Applause. Hey there, Al.
Hi, Jane. Thank you very much for having me on.
Well, I tell you, I've had Tara Brown was first, and then I had Tony, and there is a great deal of interest in Norma Rose. And of course, I had Patrick. Everybody loves Patrick. So I wanted to start just by asking you when you all connected in a professional way. I know I've known you since, goodness, is it 91 or 92? We did a program together. I think that's right.
Yeah, I mean, I joined the National Speakers Association in 1990, and I was a professional speaker at the time, just getting started. I'd retired from the Air Force in '89, and you have all these very iconic people that are there. One of which was Jeannie, and I probably met her. But what really changed was a few years later, I did a presentation on how to use music in your speech. My professional speaking was really mostly at the time after dinner entertainment, but I did do some content things, but I always use music. I'm kind of an old folk singer. So I would play the guitar and sing a song to open or close an event, and sometimes during the event. And she happened to attend that session and came up to me afterwards and said that she wanted me to write a song for her to use at a subsequent speech at NSA. And so then I flew to North Carolina, spent the weekend with she and Jerry Left Brain, and we wrote this song called "The Eucharist Gets No Respect." Jeannie's talent in the Miss America pageant was that she played the baritone ukulele and sang an original song.
Yeah.
So she kind of wanted to reprise that idea, so we wrote this song called "The Eucharist Get No Respect." I'm sure there's a recording of it somewhere. I couldn't find it. I looked for it, but we wrote the song together, and that was where we met. Of course, she hired me to do this, and she paid me, and it was fine. And then, we kind of went our ways professionally. I would see her occasionally; she would see me. Of course, we'd always see each other at the NSA conference. And then I started a record company called Altissimo Records. We did the music of the military bands, orchestras, and ensembles. I mean, a very narrow niche, but we were kind of the only ones there. And the record label was successful. And in the process of changing formats, at the time, you remember we had vinyl and we had cassettes. And then the next format was CD. And then the next format after that was the MP3, the digital download. And now the predominant format is the stream. So in the MP3 era, we got digital distribution for our record company. And it worked. We were selling a lot of streams and making a lot of money off of these MP3s. And so at NSA, I went around and asked several people if they would like to have their recordings on iTunes and Amazon. I think I approached you. Some of your recordings are on iTunes as well. So we made basically a distribution deal, if you will. And one of them was Jeannie. It's so funny. I said, well, we're not going to pay any royalties until you accrue at least $50 in royalties, which at MP3, it could take a while to do it. And the first few months of this, she called me and said, "Do I get $50 yet?" So that was essentially the professional agreement we had, and I still have that agreement with you and with many other speakers.
Yeah.
So the distribution deal. I've since sold the record company, however.
Mm-hmm.
So she had released a couple of things on YouTube, and they just were kind of there, wasn't much. And then we had, in order to promote her recordings, we pitched her and got her on Sirius XM Radio. Sirius XM Radio had two comedy channels, one which was clean, and they were looking for material. I remember the head of the programming there said, I've got 6,000 tracks that are dirty, and I've only got about 1,500 that are clean. I need more clean material. So we sent all of Jeannie's material to Sirius XM Radio. So she's being distributed on, iTunes and Amazon, and this was even before Apple Music. And she starts being played routinely on Sirius XM Radio. And somebody, we don't know who, picked up an audio track of Left Brain's grocery list.
Oh, goodness, that's hilarious.
And changed the name of it to "Don't Send a Man to the Grocery Store," and put it up on YouTube as an audio track. And you can still do that. You can put music up on YouTube, just as an audio track. So they put a they just put the title up, Jeannie Robertson, Don't Send a Man to the Grocery Store. And this audio track went viral. Who knew? And she started getting contacts from fellow speakers. I heard you, I saw you on YouTube. I saw you on YouTube. People were passing this around. And she contacted me and she was really angry. She said, look, they should be buying this on iTunes. They shouldn't be passing it around for free on YouTube. And so I said, well, Jeannie, I said, look, your physical humor is so good. Why don't you put the video up with the new title? And she did. And then the video now just went crazy. I mean, just went absolutely nuts, and now has, many million views of that track. So once she went viral, this gave her a fair amount of media celebrity, which is, by the way, the key to being a celebrity is being in the media. I mean, you'd like to think it's because of talent, but unfortunately the Kardashians have proven you do not have to have talent to be a celebrity. Mm-hmm. So anyway, or the celebrity is their talent is being a celebrity. Anyway, so she starts to get some celebrity. They start to get calls from around the country and emails saying, when are you coming to our town? We want to see your show. Well, she only rarely did public shows, and those were usually associated with fundraisers. She did tour a little bit with Carl Hurley with his shows, but that was primarily for bus tours. It really wasn't in theaters where people could go buy a ticket. And so when this happened, I approached her and said, Jeannie, I think maybe we could sell some shows. I've never been in the concert promotion business, but I have good friends in Nashville at Outback Concerts. Maybe we could make this work. So she said, well, who would come? I said, well, let's try a couple shows and see. And so we did 2 shows based on the demographics of where her products were selling. Mm-hmm. Of course, North Carolina area, the whole Raleigh, Durham area. And then also she had a lot of fans in Texas. So we did the first show in Texas and the second show in Durham, and we sold out both shows. The Dallas show sold out like 2 weeks.
Good grief.
Small theater, only about 700 people. And then and it took a little longer because it was a bigger theater in Durham, but it eventually sold out as well. So we realized that she had enough of a name to be able to sell tickets. In the meantime, of course, we were releasing other YouTube videos and we renamed them. Her videos, her DVDs, the tracks have been named based on the fact that she would give a speech, she would give a presentation, and people would go back to the merchandise table and say, well, I want the grocery store story, or I want the bungee jump story, which is fine if that's the way you're selling. But if you're trying to expand to a media, titles are very important. I mean, I think one of the keys to your success is the title of your book, Sweet Tea. I mean, that's gives you such a warm, glowing feeling when you think about Sweet Tea. I mean, I think the title of your book helps. You probably, I don't know what kind of iterations you went through to come up with your title, but that's key. But Don't Send a Man to the Grocery Store is one of those things which every woman in the world goes, well, right.
True.
So then the next video we put out was the bungee jumping story, and we changed the name to Don't Bungee Jump Naked. Again, the title itself is funny, and that's the second most favorite video that you see. And so I was going to just check and see what she put out here. Let me go back to the bottom. Come on, here we go. Yeah, the first video she put out was Mothers versus Teenage Daughters, which is not quite the funny title, but and then she put out the golfer's christening. Again, not that exciting a title. Then came Don't Send a Man to the Grocery Store, and then Don't Bungee Jump Naked, and then it became Don't Go Rafting Without a Baptist, Men Don't Know the Style of New York City, et cetera, et cetera. So we would brainstorm titles together to make sure this worked. So the media is expanding, and then we started to tour her nationally, and it just for 12 years, it just was remarkably well. Not every show was perfect. If we went to an area where she didn't have a fan base, we didn't sell that many tickets. We unfortunately had to cancel a couple of shows, but because we just didn't sell enough tickets. But if we were careful about where we took her, and making sure that she had a large enough fan base, we could always sell a lot of tickets. So